Hey, I'm Mano.
And I'm JP, and we're here for Classic Driver at the Grand Prix Historic in Monaco. Nowadays, Formula One is really like rocket science and awfully expensive. But looking back into the days, 1960s to the 1980s and 1990s, even earlier in the 30s, racing was a sport for true gentlemen, playboys, and absolutely daredevils. And this is celebrated nowadays here. Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher, whatever big name, they all celebrated here in Monaco, one of their most important victories. And nowadays, we're celebrating this again, right, Mano?
Yeah, the Grand Prix Historic de Monaco brings this golden era of Formula One back to life. And we're here this weekend, so you can join us and experience the magic of Monaco.
Organized by the Automobile Club de Monaco, the Grand Prix de Monaco Historic has brought motorsport history back to life since 1979. The first Monaco Grand Prix, though, took place already on 14th April of 1929, won by William Grover Williams in a Bugatti Type 35B, after a fierce duel with Rudolf Caraccio's Mercedes. The Historic takes place every 2 years, shortly before the modern Formula One Grand Prix, on the very same circuit. Same streets, Saint-Devoté, the Casino, Mirabeau, the Tunnel, La Rascasse, a circuit that haven't changed in nearly 100 years and is now celebrating motorsport history.
As you can see, the shared passion between drivers, cars, mechanics, administration, because we are in Monaco in the Historic Grand Prix, generate a huge passion. It generates smiles, emotions, because the history of the automobile racing, it's a big part of it. If you go in the paddock, you will see amazing cars. It's just a unique opportunity. In my case, clearly the fact that I am going to drive a car that I drove 58 years ago, or just appear suddenly out of the box. It runs, it makes an incredible noise, because the music, it's part of motor racing. You know, there are some questions about that. Yeah. And to live the present in that huge community, it's just outstanding. Frankly, the offer to drive that 312, the V situation with the spaghetti exhaust, so it's typical white, first appearance of the wings as well, gave me the chance to win Rouen, the French Grand Prix, when I was age 23. Now we are not exactly in the same situation, because now I'm over 80. So, but this is a miracle. But what is fascinating is the joy of all the fans of motor racing, whatever you have your choice of driver, choice of cars, and so on. We belong to this unique group, corporation of people, and I think I'm grateful. I was a young kid. Can you imagine that when you are the age of 23, you sign up with Ferrari? I was one of the youngest ever to sign for Ferrari at the time. Everything was new, but I had the chance to be surrounded by very talented people, surrounded by people who are ready to give you a hand to grow up, and they made my success.
Well, my name is Tommy, and I'm a passionate race driver and always, deeply involved into everything that is totally original, whatever it is. My car here today is the Ferguson P99, which is basically made the way to me because it's such an original car with such a huge history. It's the only car, the only four-wheel drive car that ever won a Formula One race. So this totally attracts me, beside the fact that it is really fully original and fully documented, and this is what always comes to me, and that's what I love. P99 won the race in 1961 with Stirling Moss, so it's the only four-wheel drive car that ever won a Formula One race. Oh, I feel so honored to sit in this car. It is, with all these drivers there were on these cars, it is just the dream of my life to do this and to race it and to also collect it and also collect the history of the car. Especially with these open wheel cars, you always have such a touched feeling with the tarmac. So you're all totally exposed somehow. So you keep on really feeling what happens much, much more than when I race GTs or something like this. So seeing the wheels, hearing the engine, feeling the air, feeling the head moving. So everything is kind of so special that is not comparable to anything else. And this morning I went out for a first stint for the free practice here in Monaco, and I can tell you, this is how you feel life. That's all I can say here. The difference for a front engine car and a rear engine car is basically that the rear engine cars, you feel it more moving. While the front wheel cars, they also move, but they're much lighter in the rear, so they have a total different behavior. Now for me, never been driving a two-wheel drive front wheel engine car, but only a four-wheel drive, I can't give you the total deep experience. For us it is, if I sit here, I can tell you, I can push it out of the corners as much as you can think, because you have full grip on four wheels. If you ever think about really driving Formula One, you would want to, first of all, me as a collector now, first of all, you have to love the car. Because if you love the car, you'll enjoy the driving. And then, depends on your experience, you can start with the DFV engines, or you stay in the earlier cars. Go front wheel. There are also pre-war cars running around, so it's kind of your passion. But I think the focus is love the car, and then you love to drive it.
My name is Maxim Kastelein and I'm driving an Aston Martin DB3S. It's an ex-wars car, with a very great history. The car won with Stirling Moss in Goodwood. The car did the Mille Miglia in 1955. A lot of events. The car is still running strong and we're taking it racing back again, so having fun. Racing a car with this history is very, very privileged feeling. We try to preserve the car and as it was in period. Obviously, modern safety is obliged, because back in the days, the drivers were very ballsy to drive these cars. And I think, we can be very lucky to drive these cars still and drive them fast. There is still a rivalry between Italian brands and English brands, but it's gentleman driving. Everybody gets along very well. We're having fun, but on the racetrack it can get sometimes a little crazy. The colors of the car are British Racing Green, obviously, and then you have the yellow striping. On this particular car, the yellow stripes are made for in Le Mans to recognize which car is driving. So that's why all the DB3Ss have a different style of color or a different nose or a different shape. Only the worst cars had this. There's only 10 in the world and only these had it. Monaco Grand Prix Historic is very special because it's only once and twice, only in 2 years. And the racetrack is very iconic. There is not a lot of room to make an error. In other circuits you have more runoff space, and here it's very tight, so you need to be extra careful. And as well as the history, the track is almost 100 years old now, so it's very special to drive here, very special. As a young guy driving these cars, it's very humble. I'm very humble because the older generation, older people who drive these cars are still very quick. And for me, I'm just learning, and the more I drive and the more I do, it's for me important to have some. I learn from them, and I try to be as fast as possible. So we will surely be back in 2 years, I'm sure. It's my second time now I've did it, and I'm very sure I'll be back in 2028. So I'm already looking forward to it.
Here in Monaco at the Grand Prix Historique, we see the greatest racing cars in the world. But if you're looking for any car, collectible car, even race cars, go check out the Classic Driver Marketplace. And don't forget to follow us, subscribe and like on our channels on Instagram, YouTube and TikTok.
I'm Katerina and I race cars. What Monaco means to me is a very good question. For me, personally, it's the pinnacle of historic racing. It's the track, it's the history, it's the lineup of cars, competitive grades. So it's always long waiting for 2 years. And for me, when you do well here, you know, you have a very good years. In my car, obviously it's different to different cars and great. I start with the start and finish line. So I go up to fourth gear, braking under the UBS sign, go into third to second, take the apex, Sandebo up shift third. That's not a straight, there are a couple of corners, so I'm trying to sort of find the straight line. Up to Casino Square, which is very special corner for me because I managed twice to spin there, once in rain, once in dry. So to carry speed in third gear and focus on the right-hander, try to get the apex properly on the Casino Square. Down to the hairpin section into second, first right, down, accelerate, down to first, hairpin, up to second, right-hander, and then tunnel, which is a tricky one. I always tend to sort of brake a little bit earlier and, you know, you see just the wall in ahead of you. So in tunnel, yes, up to third, fourth, trying not to turn too early for the kink, tricky one, and heading out, brake, third, chicane, second, tabak, third, carry speed. Then the section swimming pool, it's a left, right, right. And then Raskas, first gear, in my car, first gear. And then it's the last corner, which is the second gear for me. And I hope always to carry enough speed and get with a good speed on the start and finish line. That's it. I'm not a very sort of nervous person. I realize I'm quite fine with that. Talk to people sometimes is good for me because it keeps me relaxed. But obviously, just before I go out, I like to just put the helmet on and sit in the car and run the circuit in my head. For the beginners, how to start historic racing. Well, don't start your racing in Monaco, I would say. I wouldn't recommend that one. It's still exciting after 10 years. I still feel, wow, what a track. What to do? Start slowly, build up to that. Just pick a car which you feel confident with, do a couple of track days, and just mainly have fun. And with the fun come the competition, you know, and the feeling, yeah, I want to go for it. And then you end up in Monaco.
Good morning from the Grand Prix Historic here in Monaco. And today is qualifying. Not without the Ferrari 312 though, because there was an accident yesterday. But tirelessly, the whole crew of Methuselah Racing used the famous river tunnel here in the port at the paddock to rebuild the car to a status where we hope it can start. So let's see what's going to happen. But for me, this is the essence of racing. Teamwork, everyone stick together, work the whole night and make the impossible possible. And that's something that I miss on modern motorsport a little bit. You see that in rally, but you definitely see it here in Monaco at the Grand Prix Historique. What a fantastic job done. And I'm really celebrating the mechanics who were just working here and doing this fantastic job. Absolutely amazing. And this is what racing all about. Never lift. Joe, we're standing in front of the Ferrari that had like a little kiss yesterday. We spoke about team spirit and everything because your team is working tirelessly to put the car together. Is that the true spirit of motorsport?
Well, let's say more than a true story, it's the story of the motorsport.
Yeah.
It's the relationship in between the machine, your team, your car, And at the end of the day, when yesterday, the driver is making a mistake.
Yeah.
I've been too, let's say, pushy. I exaggerate. These cars are very sensitive on the bumps, but they are extremely powerful. I came out of the tunnel, jump on the bump where I know there is this bump since ever.
Yeah.
And I lost the car. So I feel so sorry for the team because they worked all night. It's not a car where you can replace the parts, but you have to fix it as welding and re-measuring everything.
Yes.
So it takes a lot of time, and I'm so sorry about that. Each decade, we F1 have been at the top of the technology.
Yeah.
The technology now in automotive is incredible. We see the car going without a driver. So to have a regulation where you can use all the new technology and to make a fast car, it's incredible.
I'm a 51-year-old boy playing with toys, and usually the main job is racing GT3 cars. But as I started roughly 30 years ago with historic racing, I'm more than happy to come back from time to time, and Monaco is as well as good to revival the event of the year. And it's always a pleasure to be here and enjoying any car. Usually with the GT3 cars we go flat out. Meanwhile, as well for the 24 hours, there's not even 1/10 of a second you can lose by saving the car. Regarding the historic cars, it's all about going as quick as possible without retiring. And so this is the main target, to push the car to the max, but try to see the finish line. Actually, I think GT3 racing on the Nordschleife is one of the privileged things you can do. I think this is one of the most fun things to do at the time, and I think once we're looking back in 30 years, we might think that the GT3 era of the Nordschleife was one of the greatest eras we had. For me personal, as I was always a boy who loves historic racing, I would have loved to do the Formula 1 cars in the 70s. One of my best friends is Stritzel Stuck, and talking about these kind of things they experienced at the time is great. As well, the DTM era from the late 80s to the early 90s was a fantastic era. But I don't cry about it. I think every era has his heroes, its technical, brilliant solutions, and actually these cars are the decades where I'm getting interested. Early on it's slightly too slow, I would say. But from the 50s onwards, it's always a pleasure to drive these kind of cars. Especially with this car, we are suffering a bit of horsepowers, balance as well. Compared to the competitors, we are slightly underpowered. So the main thing is to keep it running, try to feel the rhythm. It's more, especially with these kind of tires, like dancing instead of driving. Just like a smooth melody, try to lift the car, to enjoy the car. And in the end as well, trying to survive with these kind of drum brakes. You have to keep an eye on that, because otherwise the pedal and the brakes will disappear after 5 or 6 laps. The target is to survive for 10 laps, and this is what we try tomorrow. It's a completely different car to what I drove 4 years ago, I think, when I drove kind of my dream car. It was a funny situation. I was able to drive a Formula 1 Alfa Romeo from 1982, and this was my absolute dream car when I was a 7-year-old boy, because it looked literally the same like the McLaren V8, but it had a much better sound, and this is what I heard already when I was 7 years old. And 6 years ago, I was asked by the owner and the team if I might run this car at Monaco, and this was a dream coming true. It couldn't be better, and enjoying the tunnel with 12,000 revs in a V12, that's the pinnacle of the motor racing history. The cars which qualified in front of us in the front row, we qualified third, are much quicker, and there's no way to beat them. So I think the most we can achieve is the third place, which would be fantastic, but as well, we need to bring it to the finish line first, and this will be a huge effort anyway.
Today, I'm a very, very fortunate man. I'm here in the tent of the F1 Clienti program, which is in Monaco here for the first time. Founded in 2003, clients had the chance to drive original Formula One cars on the original tracks. And this is the first year that in the program of the Grand Prix Historic de Monaco, the clients can also drive the cars in the famous streets. I'm a little bit out of words standing in front of those cars because they bring up so much memories from my childhood, which is absolutely amazing. This Grand Prix normally is for, let's say, older cars, but the fascination, especially for the young people, and I consider myself a little bit young, the V10, the V12 from the era where we were children. When I listened to the engines for the first time yesterday during lunch, I just hear the noise in the background and the emotions came up like crazy. I was sitting in front of the TV, my parents behind me, my little brother, my bigger brother next to me, and we're looking up to Michael Schumacher, supporting him, crying when he lost, and partying when he won, and I'm out of words. I'm sitting here in front of a big thing, which really is the center of this car, and maybe a huge connection to what brings up the emotion in me personally. Of course, as a German kid, it was easy to say, okay, he's a fan of Michael Schumacher. But in the end, it was all the cars. It was the sound. It was everything connected to the challenge and to the spirit that those guys had. In front of me is the heart of the car. It's a 3-liter V10 engine, revs up to almost 19,000 RPM, and that really defined the era of these cars. You have to come here, you have to experience this, because this is absolutely unique. It blows your mind. For our competition of the coolest race car on the events, my secret winner is this. First of all, it has to have a number 1 in the front, because it cannot be the coolest car if it's not a world champion, in my opinion. I know it's out of competition because it's not really taking part of the actual race, at least here on the Grand Prix Historic de Monaco. But during the Cosa Clienti program, you can see it go quite quick on the track. Everything connected to this car is absolute coolness. So this is the coolest race car of the event for me.
So day 2 of the Monaco Grand Prix Historic is over. It was qualification day and we saw some serious racing here on the city circuit in Monaco. And I have to say, behind us is a Ferrari 312 that should have not raced because it had quite a harsh accident yesterday. But as you saw earlier in our movie, the guy's doing everything to make it possible. It ran and it will run tomorrow. So what an achievement. But there were other cool highlights here on Monaco today. So what's your personal highlight, Mano?
So for me personally, the highlight today was the V10 engines.
Yes, definitely.
The Clienti cars of Ferrari. I mean, this is my youth. This is what I grew up with. The sound Michael Schumacher cars blew me away.
Yeah.
Of course, they were not inside the competition, but still emotions came up.
This was also really the coolest part of that race, and I wish they would be part of the competition in their own class. But maybe that comes. Let's see if that changes. But it shows again that sound does so much to the excitement of racing. And when we hear the V10s roar down Raskas, coming down, accelerate, brake, out of the tunnel, it's just, I mean, we were here because we were working mainly, but listening to that sound really took you back in time. And that's what it's all about. But also, Manu and I, we have a little side challenge because we challenge each other about the coolest race car of all times, or let's say at least of this event. So Manu, what do you think it will be?
Well, I have a few cars in my mind I want to show you and want to show you. All in all, for me personally, it's a car which is not in the competition, so it doesn't fit again. But probably you know already what's your favorite car of the event. So leave it in the comments when you think you're 100% sure. finally here. It's Sunday, here in the Grand Prix Historic de Monaco. Early in the morning when we came here today, with every step you could feel the tension go up and up and up. Did you feel it too?
Absolutely. The tension is in the air. It's like little sounds going on of tension. And we saw our first races already. We have winners already. And we cannot wait how the result's going to be. Hopefully no accidents, but sheer excitement. And this is Monaco. Organized by the Automobile Club de Monaco, the Grand Prix de Monaco Historic has brought motorsport history back to life since 1979. The first Monaco Grand Prix, though, took place already on 14th April of 1929, won by William Grover Williams in a Bugatti Type 35B, after a fierce duel with Rudolf Caracciolla's Mercedes. The Historic takes place every 2 years, shortly before the modern Formula One Grand Prix, on the very same circuit. Same streets, Certes-Devoté, the Casino, Mirabeau, the Tunnel, La Rascasse, a circuit that haven't changed in nearly 100 years and is now celebrating motorsport history. The Grand Prix de Monaco Historic is not one race, it's 8. Over 200 cars spanning 6 decades of motorsport history, each grouped into its own category by era from 1929 to 1985. Every class tells a different chapter of the motorsport story. It begins with the oldest machines on the grid, the pre-war Bugattis and Alfa Romeos that essentially invented Grand Prix racing in the 1920s and 30s. Then come the front-engine sports cars of the 1950s, Ferraris, Maseratis, the cars of the Golden Age. Next, the rear-engine revolution of the early 1960s, when Formula One changed shape forever. Through the 1970s, the 3-liter Formula One era takes center stage. Most of them powered by the Ford Cosworth DFV, the engine that dominated a generation of race cars. And for 2026, for the first time, the turbocharged monsters of the early 1980s joined the grid, following a regulatory change that finally allowed them to race here in Monaco. The weekend follow a clear structure. Friday is free practice, Saturday qualifying, and on Sunday the races run back to back, each one up to 45 minutes long. Every single car on this grid is the real thing, the actual chassis raced by the legends. Owners putting irreplaceable machines worth millions on the line. Lap after lap, through the tunnel, past Rascasse, that is what makes Monaco Historic unlike anything else in the world.
Hi, I'm Andrea. I've been in love with cars and photography since I was a kid. And today I'm lucky to be able to make a living out of cars and photography. And for me, it's very special to be in Monaco today.
The first time I've been here was in 1992. I was 7 years old and I watched Senna win the race after fighting with Mansell in that legendary Battle of the Last Lap. It was my father who took me with him, exactly like his father used to do, because they lived in the nearby town of Menton, and my grandfather almost never missed a Grand Prix in his lifetime. I have some of his memories at home from his races, like old tickets, photos or programs with his commentary handwritten in it. Things from back then, like the weather is sunny and hot, one deadly accident, fantastic race. I really love the Grand Prix Historique because it's so loud, authentic, exciting, and you feel much closer to the cars. It's here as a spectator that I pretty much started my motorsport photography back in 1992, and I like to watch my personal progress year after year in the same setting. Being here today with an official role and having this kind of access definitely feels like a full circle moment for me.
I think I found a strong contestant for the challenge, which is the coolest racing car of all times. And I think I have a good choice here, because this is the March 741 Jägermeister Racing, driven by Hans-Joachim Stuck in the 70s. A fantastic livery, legendary. And I love everything about this car. The double stack in the front, the color, the setup, the Cosworth engine, everything is absolutely clearly Formula One. And Jägermeister Racing is kind of back. So there's a project called Rennmeister, and please follow Rennmeister on Instagram to see the coolest orange racing cars, because all we know is orange cars drive faster.
So, another choice for me for the coolest race car on the event is maybe a surprise for all of you guys. But this is for the respect of the elderly. This Bugatti 37A is 100 years old. I will not be able to stand here when I'm 100 years old, and this car is still racing in a competitive surrounding and performing very well. It was born a 4-cylinder engine without a compressor and was upgraded to the 37A with a compressor later, putting out 110 horsepower and not a lot of weight, obviously. The 4-cylinder engine is actually better weight balance than the 6-cylinder or 8-cylinder engines because the center of gravity is more in the middle of the car. So I talked to the owner, he told me he did the Mille Miglia several times, and it's an absolutely beautiful car to drive. And also quick because he can drive around with the other guys here at the Grand Prix Historique de Monaco. 100 years old, absolutely amazing.
My impression after the race, pure, unadulterated joy and ecstasy. During the race, right when you start, you are a little bit worried about it. How's it gonna be? Is the clutch gonna hold very well? Am I gonna have a great start? It's wet on the line where I was set, and, you know, it's dry on the other line, there's only one dry. But once you put second gear and third gear, it's like the fear completely dissipates and the passion comes right back. It's like a fight inside. It's like fear and passion for what you do. And all of a sudden, as soon as the gears go up, the fear just dies out and passion just explodes. This car was driven by great guys, Piero Taruffi, Harry Schnell, Carol Shelby drove this car. I mean, these are true champions. I am an amateur driver. I enjoy it. I don't want to keep it in the garage and look at it, although she is beautiful. But she's beautiful because she was fast and she was very, very good at the time. It's a 70+ years old car and still gives the same satisfaction. I think that when Piero Taruffi did the 12 hours of Sebring, probably felt the same way he did, except he was much faster than I am. I gotta tell you, it felt very short. It felt very short to me. I thought that when they launched the white flag, we were merely halfway through. I had a lot more to give. The car was doing fantastic. The gear shift was like a hot knife on butter. The engine had a torque like a train. I thought I could have gone for another hour. And I gotta tell you, one thing that is spectacular is the crowd. Because with the corner of your eyes, even though you're trying to find the perfect line for the entry of a turn and the apex right, your eyes can help catch the crowds in front of you. And it's ecstatic, it's fabulous feeling. What makes Monaco differently than other event? The history, the tradition, the fact that this is a very, very technical track. This is a track on which you literally have no straightaway. You are constantly turning. It's hard to look at your gauges. You're constantly trying to pick, where's my apex, where's my braking point? And you just don't look at the, thank God we have great mechanics that take care of it. The car didn't overheat, the oil was a perfect temperature, the water was perfect, everything. But that's what you do. So Monaco is history of racing multiplied by 10. Is Monza, is Indianapolis, is all of the great tracks in the world multiplied by 10. Absolutely, we will be back here again. We will do it every 2 years. Johnny, come over here. John had a beautiful Ferrari, next to it, the twin Ferrari, next to it, and unfortunately, we had a mechanical to it, but we will be back in 2 years.
Back in 2 years with 4 cars. Yeah.
And when we can get back here, we will come here in a wheelchair, and we will go around the paddock in a wheelchair. Thank you very much. Viva Monaco!
So JP and me, we have this game. Try to find the coolest race car of the event.
Which is a very hard task, you could imagine, because here at the Grand Prix Historique, we have a lot of options of the most magnificent racing cars of all time. But Mano will tell you, after a long, long discussion, nearly a fist fight it ended up with, we decided on one car. Mano, which car did we finally could agree on?
The winner is your beautiful chair.
Yes.
It's the Ferrari 312 68 F1.
What a car.
What's very special about this car here, this is chassis number 9, and it's actually Jackie X's first winner car.
And that's something truly special, because I think 53, I cannot calculate, 53, 54 years ago, he started as one of the youngest rivals for Ferrari here in Monaco. He won the Grand Prix in France, in Rouen, and now he got reunited with the car and did 2 demonstration laps with the age of 80 plus. So I think that's something truly marvelous. But why did we choose that car? Because we all know the magic about the Scuderia Ferrari. This car caught so much attention from all the people around here, even with the sister cars around here as well. And we have some nice features in the car. First time a wing, spaghetti exhaust system, all these fantastic details of that car. So we have so many elements that in modern F1 could not be missed. We have a wing, we have a fantastic exhaust system, the famous spaghetti exhaust, brilliant engine, 12 cylinders. I mean, it's absolutely amazing, 3 liters. Like the V10 cars, this car stands for Formula One racing in a wonderful color scheme. So it was totally clear that we had to give the prize, our little prize, it's not a big prize, to this car. With this we come to the end of the 15th edition of the Grand Prix Historic here in Monaco, and what a weekend it was. So Manu, what did you take away from that weekend?
The biggest word that comes into my mind when I think of what I take away is emotion. Like in every sense. The noise, just the visual impact which it has on you when you watch those old cars, especially in the scenery of Monaco, which didn't change a lot, let's say, since the last 60, 70 years. You watch a car and you feel like you're just back in time. And that's the cool thing about those historic events, especially here. So
definitely, and what it's always the same thing. You meet fantastic people at this event. And we can only stress not enough that go out, drive your car, go out to events like this. In best case, you take your car, coming to an event like Monaco or other fantastic events around the annual calendar, meet people, talk cars, enjoy the smell. And one important thing that we can all take with us is that motorsport is still about camaraderie. And one thing we take away from this is that motorsport still is teamwork, camaraderie, fairness, and you help each other. And these are the values that go far beyond motorsport. So we all need to understand this is not just a fun weekend. This is really something that will stay and will create great memories.
thank you for joining us for this year's edition of the Grand Prix de Monaco Historic. It was a pleasure.
And if you like what you saw, please subscribe here on our YouTube channel to not miss out any of the future cool videos we are preparing for you, traveling around the world, visiting the most exciting car events, visiting the most special collections, speaking to the most incredible people. So give us a subscription and you will not miss that. And also, please follow us on Instagram, because we have a fantastic channel for quick news about everything, instant news, I would say, about everything related to cars. Thank you very much for joining in. This is JP and
Mano.
Thank you. Bye-bye.